Hey guys, what's up? You're watching Up and Adam. My name's Adam Knoll. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm the guy bringing you guys all the weekly interviews and recaps from your favorite celebrities and pop culture influencers. Now, of course, today's no different. Today, we're back to talk about Katherine Edwards from The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 6. If you guys don't remember her, it's only because she was on one season. But if you're a diehard Beverly Hills fan, you will definitely know who I'm talking about. Now, she's slamming Erika in her behavior, calling her trashy, and accusing her of having a sham marriage. She had a lot to say on David Yontif's podcast. We're going to cover it all. But before we do, if you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell because, well, you don't want to miss anything we have coming up. Now with that, let's jump right in.
It's time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
So on this podcast, Katherine was asked about Erika Girardi, and again, she's slamming her with saying what she believes she knew, and also she's accusing the star of being cold, but accusing Erika of being cold, it's nothing new to us. We've heard that she's cold anyways, and she's been deemed the ice queen of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, so that isn't news to me, but what she's saying is pretty interesting. This is what Katherine said. I want to give her the benefit of the doubt and say that she didn't know everything. But if you're spending how much money on a card, and I think she knew that the business was paying the card, she's crafty in my opinion. Woo. Now, from what Katherine's saying, she apparently believes that Erika was kept in the loop when it came to Tom Girardi's winnings, his earnings through his lawsuits. Katherine said she can do the math of what the percentage is. Listen, I was married to an NFL football player before, and I'm married to an NFL football player now. Anyone can read a newspaper and know what the NFL players are making in the contracted season, right? I don't have to see a check stub to figure out what's coming in the tax. Good point, Katherine. Okay, it keeps going. Now, we know that Erika has claimed that she's been kept in the dark when it comes to Tom Girardi's finances. And a lot of people feel like him being the high power attorney that he was, that, yeah, he kind of had this role where I make the money, you shut your mouth, don't ask me any questions and spend what you want, but don't you dare ask me a question. But for Katherine, she feels like Erika would have never married Tom Girardi had it not have been for the money. Well, I think a lot of people feel like that, Katherine. You're not the only one. But again, this is what Katherine said. It's money, honey. That's all it was. It was a business deal for her. She also added the business dealing of the marriage of settling with a guy that you're not really in love with. Well, then there's the consequences. Katherine also chimed in on this whole idea that what Erika received over the course of her marriage, these were gifts. These were gifts given to her, and she shouldn't have to give them back because they're not community property. But Katherine chimed in on this, letting us know, even if they were gifts, they were likely purchased with the money that he stole from the victims. Katherine said, give the shit back and give it back to the rightful owners. Whew. Katherine even said that she would be beyond embarrassed to even gloat about all of the lavish gifts that she has, this luxury lifestyle that she has when all of these victims are owed money. Preach, Katherine, preach. She said that to me is sick. If Erika wants to hold a ground saying that she knew nothing because she has to, and that's what her legal team, her defense team is counseling her to do, okay, fine. But you could, well, she could show at least a little bit more remorse. She could at least show sympathy. And that for me is, you know, the part that I'm blown away with because of how cold she's being. Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people think, Katherine. Now, while Katherine's blown away by her behavior, Erika's behavior on season 11, she did note that when she was on the show with her in season 6, that she exhibited some trashy behavior. Katherine said to me, she was always kind of below that line of being trashy. Okay. She said, I remember when we were on the bus leaving San Diego and it was after her show and she got on the bus, she hopped on with this really short skirt and it looked like she had no underwear on. And then she ended up hopping on the bar in the bus and she's dancing, whatever. And from that, Katherine said, I'm looking right up her skirt and asked her, do you have any underwear on? And she looks down and she goes, no. Katherine, are you just giving us all the deets? It sounds like it. You're just letting us know what's going on under there? Okay. Guys, one of the things that I hear from fans, a lot of fans get frustrated when former cast members come out and they speak against cast member that is still currently on a show. They're like, what are you doing this for? Are you doing it for attention? Why are you even talking about this now? Right? We've heard that many a times. But for this is such a huge scandal that I'm not surprised that Katherine would be talking about this, even if it's on David Yontif's podcast. I think it makes sense only because this is the biggest scandal going on in Bravo history, alongside Jen Shah, of course, but this is one of the biggest scandals. And hearing about how Erika was before and how she is now, I think it's pretty interesting. It's like kind of being able to connect the dots and see what other people's perspectives are, because we can talk about it all day, but we haven't been around her. At least most of us haven't. I don't have a relationship with Erika. I haven't been to her house. I haven't had personal conversations with her, and I damn sure haven't been on a bus with her wearing a skirt and no underwear. Okay. Katherine apparently has, at least that's what she's alleging. And listening to her take on it, yeah, it to me is still interesting. I do have a lot of questions though. Maybe we'll be able to get Katherine on in the future, because even though David Yontif, he asked the right questions, I feel like now having this little bit of substance we do in our hand, that there are a few more questions that we could definitely ask to get a little bit more clarity. However, from what we do know, she thinks that Erika's trashy. She feels like she's being cold, and she doesn't think that she was completely out of the loop when it came to Tom Girardi's earnings, especially after how much was revealed that she was spending on her Amex card. Now, my question for you is, what are your thoughts on Katherine's interview? Does anybody care? Do you think it's interesting? Or are you just like, Katherine, take several seats? You have a hot NFL player husband. You're good, girl. You don't have to worry about Erika Girardi over here. Just go live your best life. All right, guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, comment below. And before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell, because, well, you don't want to miss anything we have coming up. And also don't forget that today is Happy Real Housewives of Beverly Hills Day. We're continuing on with the Dinner Party from Hell Part 2, which kind of makes it feel like it's Part 3, but we'll see how this plays out. It looks like a literal shit show, especially because last week's episode was by far, in my opinion, the most interesting episode of this year's franchise. So with that, we'll have a special guest on tomorrow to recap the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Stay tuned, and don't forget, well, this is where you get all of the good news. I'll see you guys soon. Bye, guys.